Oh man, look at that. Did you see the size of that caiman? It's a giant.
My name is Cyril Chauquet, and I've been chasing monster fish my whole life. Oh. This time, I'm in Northern Argentina to look into some frightening stories I've heard of monsters literally dragging fishermen from their boats.
Y cuando me caí el agua me llevó el pescado.
Some victims have even disappeared forever, and nobody knows what really happened.
Pero ya encontraron los huesos, no tenían nada más.
Northern Argentina can be a very hostile and dangerous place.
Apague el motor, por favor.
To find out what's really going on in these waters, I'll need to go to extremes.
The size of those piranhas. And I'm surrounded.
To track down this monster. Big fish. I just hope it doesn't get up.
I'm here in Northern Argentina, where I've heard rumors of fish so powerful, they've been said to literally drag fishermen right off their boats. Are there really monster fish lurking in these waters that are strong enough to pull a man overboard and drown him? That's what I want to find out.
The Parana River runs through South America for over 3,000 miles. Reaching nearly 20 miles wide in some places, the word Paraná comes from an indigenous word, meaning like the sea. This river forms a natural border between Argentina and Paraguay. In the village of Itaibate, across the river from Paraguay, a young fisherman tells me a truly terrifying story. A story that has traumatized him so badly that every day he goes to a small shrine and prays to Gauchito Gil, a local folk hero and saint, to ask for his protection.
Marcelo, ¿qué te pasó ese día? Ese día fui con mi canoa solo, fui a pescar de noche. Estaba oscuro ya. Estaba pescando ahí y con mi canoa solo. De repente me picó un pescado y lo enganché y cuando empecé a sacar y de repente me empezó a llevar.
The fish was so big, Marcelo couldn't stop it.
Peleamos por 20 minutos. Peleaba. Era grande el pescado. Estamos hablando. Grandote.
He fought the monster as best he could, but he made a mistake, and the line wrapped around his hand, and the fish pulled him overboard.
Y cuando me caí el agua me llevó el pescado.
¿Te llevó el pescado?
Me llevó. Yo pensé que me estaba por ahogar ya. Cuando me fui al agua, no sé cómo salió un milagro.
Luckily, he managed to untangle his hand from the line and was able to swim back to the surface.
Y ahí todo desesperado ya salí arriba. Ya. Me fui por la canoa y salí en la canoa y ya salí como te asustado. Pero fue un milagro lo que sucedió ese día.
Wow.
No sabía qué era ese pescado que hasta ahora sigo en pensamiento, no sé qué era ese pescado que yo enganché.
Un bicho enorme, ¿eh?
Bastante grande.
That's incredible. To this day, he has no idea what it was. But one thing's for sure, he must have been huge to be able to pull a man overboard.
Es un milagro que estás aquí para contarme esta historia.
De verdad sí.
Wow.
This is exactly the type of story that brought me here. Stories of fishermen pulled into the waters of the Paraná by some kind of ultra-powerful monster.
¿Y dónde pasó eso?
Aquí, por aquí no.
En esa zona aquí.
Sí, o sea, en la zona de aquí.
Marcelo was so deeply affected by the accident, he's now afraid to fish at night. But despite that, he offers to show me where he fought the beast.
We're going to the exact same spot where it happened, at the exact same time of day. Actually, night. And the best way to find out what's down there is to drop a bait down to the bottom. And see what I can get. See what's down there.
¿Es el lugar?
Sí, aquí fue el lugar donde que se me escapó el pescado grande.
We are at the exact spot where it happened, so I hope to find a monster that nearly drowned Marcelo.
¿Pescas mucho de noche?
Sí, se pesca mucho. Es muy bueno, pero muy un riesgo.
¿Por qué?
Hay mucho tráfico acá. Paraguay y la Argentina.
¿De droga?
De droga, todo.
The Parana River is a main artery for drug trafficking between Argentina and Paraguay. Fishermen here are caught in the middle, constantly at risk of crossing paths with the wrong people.
That's reassuring. Not only are there monster fish that can pull a man overboard, but there's drug runners too.
¿Y qué pasa si te encuentran aquí?
Si llegan, te sacan todo y te pueden llegar a matar todo.
No.
Sí,
¿Te pueden matar?
sí, te pueden llegar a matar.
I mean, he's fished here his whole life and he never had a problem. So, should be all right. I hope. Oh.
Pique.
Sí.
Pescado grande.
¿Sí, eh?
Sí. Sí. Pez grande. Cuidado.
Está en el fondo donde se mueve.
I wonder what that is. Barely moving on the bottom, but it's got a lot of weight. Feel some trees on the bottom, that's not good. Man. Oh, no.
Reventó la línea.
¿Qué sentí? Sí, se quebró la línea. Eso es línea de 40 kilos.
Unbelievable. That was a big fish. Man, I would have loved to see what it was.
Grande pez, ¿eh?
Bastante grande.
¿Es la luz? ¿Quieres?
No sé.
Apague el motor, por favor.
¿Es la policía?
Policías.
At least, it's not drug traffickers, but the police might think that we are. This is no joke. They'll be well armed and on guard.
Hola.
Acerque por favor la embarcación. ¿Qué transportan?
Equipo de pesca.
¿Qué tiene en la mochila, señor?
Equipo de pesca.
Muéstrame. Saque por favor todo lo que tenga, por favor.
Alicate, ropa, fósforo.
¿Me permite la documentación de la embarcación?
Sí, uno.
¿Documentos?
Está todo listo ahí.
Verificalo, por favor.
7 gol, Lima Fósforo.
Lima 7 gol, vuelve.
Quiero saber si la embarcación Paraíso Octavo tiene autorización para pescar de noche.
I just hope that our documents are in order.
Tiene autorización correspondiente.
Ok, QCL, gracias.
Recomendaciones, señores. Es una zona fronteriza donde hay posibles hechos ilícitos.
Fortunately, we have the right documentation. The police let us go, after warning us of the danger here.
Adiós, gracias. Disculpa.
Man, it's not the kind of place you want to hang out. First, I get broken up by a big fish, and now the cops. I think it's time for a wrap.
After a few hours of sleep, I'm back on the Parana River, looking for the monster. This time, I'm with Walter, a local fisherman who knows the area really well. Meeting Marcelo has got me even more motivated to find out what kind of monster could pull a fisherman right out of his boat. I was even broken up by something so big, it was unstoppable. I hope Walter can help me figure out what it was. We start by trolling to cover a large area as quickly as possible.
There's some monsters out here. And these big fish, they have a tendency to stay down. They don't really come up to the surface. So one of the best ways to catch them is to throw some big lures like this. And by trolling a lure with a big lip in front of it, it actually pulls the lure down with doing this motion. It goes all the way down until it bounces off the bottom. It's all very mysterious in a way because you have to picture that lure on the bottom going in front of a predator's face until one decides to go for it, to attack it.
We're trolling for a predator fish that could attack a lure. But I've heard that in some areas of the Paraná, giant freshwater stingrays lurk in the depths.
¿Qué pez piensas que tendría la fuerza para llevar un hombre al agua?
La raya.
He also seems to think that a huge stingray could do it.
Y la raya es muy poco lo se ve.
He believes that a big stingray could pull a person under. But given that big ones are rare in these waters, he has another monster fish in mind.
El surubí.
¿El surubí?
Sí, el surubí. Acá lo llamamos el toro del río, por la fuerza que tiene.
El toro del río.
El toro del río.
Por el tamaño también.
El tamaño también, y supera...
Walter explains that the Surubi can grow to the size of a man, close to 6 feet long and more than 150 pounds.
Y la fuerza como el toro.
Eso seguro que te lleva un hombre. Tiene una fuerza increíble.
Sí, una fuerza increíble.
The bull of the river, the Surubi. That could have been what pulled Marcelo under.
Bueno, buen tamaño, buen tamaño, buen tamaño. Pez, sí. Gran pez.
Getting a little bit of a fight here. I don't know what it is yet.
¿Qué piensas que es?
Un surubí grande.
¿Un surubí?
Sí, un surubí.
Oh, surubí, surubí.
This is a nice Surubi, but I can already tell from the fight and from what I've seen of the fish on the surface that this one is too small to be able to pull someone under. Beautiful Surubi catfish. What a splendid animal. Look at the patterns on the back. That's camel right there. Oh my gosh. Definitely not big enough to pull a man overboard though. But you know what? They can grow really big. More than 5 feet long and close to 200 pounds. So I guess his grandpa could pull a man overboard. All right, you go back, buddy.
¡Qué pez lindo!
Felicitaciones, Cyril.
Gracias.
Muy buen pez.
Gracias a ti, amigo, por llevarme aquí.
Pero hay bicho más grande, mucho más grande.
¿Bicho así?
Enorme, enorme.
Eso quiero.
According to Walter, a huge Surubi would be strong enough to pull someone into the water. But to be sure, I'll have to get one on the line and feel the power of one of these giants myself. But before casting out again, I want to take a look under the surface and see with my own eyes if such giants really do exist. So far, I only see small fish, but I'm sure that by going deeper, I'll see some bigger ones.
Oh man, look at that. Did you see the size of that caiman? It's a giant. It swam that way, so I think I'm okay. But he was right there.
There are a lot of caimans around here, but if I want to find a Surubi, I'll have to move to a deeper part of the river.
Visibility isn't bad, but the current's really strong.
The riverbed begins to drop rapidly, and the current pushes me faster and faster.
I just hope I don't come face to face with a monster caiman.
I I'm really getting swept along. With the current this strong, if I come across a big obstacle, I won't be able to avoid it. Finally, I'm starting to see more fish.
Wow, look at all the Surubis. They're everywhere, but none are big enough to pull someone from their boat. It's getting really deep here.
The current continues to push me downstream, and my air is getting low. The deeper the river gets, the less fish I find, but the ones I do see are bigger and bigger.
Look at that one. That's a very nice Surubi.
I find a deep hole, about 50 feet deep, where almost no light can reach. I might be able to find a giant down here, but it's seriously time for me to get back to the surface. The river starts to become more shallow, and the current helps me get to the surface. I've seen some Surubis, but no monster ones. However, something I did see makes me think that I may not be looking for the right species. I've been looking for the monster fish responsible for pulling fishermen into the Parana River. And although I didn't find a huge Surubi during my dive, coming across that caiman made me think that the culprit might not actually be a fish, but a caiman. Could it be that the victims had hooked an enormous caiman by accident and were pulled into the water? It's a possibility I have to explore. Caymans are among the largest carnivorous reptiles in South America. They tend to avoid humans, but when hungry, they can become extremely aggressive. To find out if a caiman is actually capable of pulling a person out of a boat, I head out to meet Luis. He runs a caiman farm, and I hope he can tell me more about the power of this reptile.
Los yacares pueden llegar a qué, ¿hasta qué tamaño?
Hasta 4 metros.
4 metros. ¿Y piensa que tiene la fuerza para llevar un hombre al agua?
Sí, totalmente. Tiene capacidad para matar a un ser humano en el instante.
Sí.
La mordedura es muy fuerte. Tiene más fuerza que un motor.
¿Sí?
Lleva más rápido la embarcación.
According to him, a caiman is just pure muscle. It's so powerful that for sure it could pull a man overboard, no doubt about it.
¿Piensa que podría atacar a un hombre?
Sí, puede atacar a un hombre. Fácilmente puede atacar.
Luis says that a caiman would have no problem attacking or even killing a human, because they're known to prey on very large animals.
Ciervo, búfalo.
¿Búfalo?
Sí, especialmente bajan la población de piraña.
¿Así?
What he says is really interesting because caimans love to eat piranhas, and by doing so, they actually regulate the population. They keep the piranha population in check. And if the caimans were not here, the piranha population would literally explode and it would create a problem in the environment.
Luis's farm produces caiman meat, but some of its animals are released back into the wild to ensure the sustainability of the local caiman population.
Un montón de
Muchos yacarés.
yacares. ¿Cuántos tienen aquí?
1000 yacarés.
1000.
1000 yacarés.
Y a una parte de ese criadero de la población de yacaré de aquí que sueltan al medio ambiente.
El 20% se suelta al medio ambiente. 20-30%.
Ah, qué bueno.
Sí, sí.
Tienes más que yo. Qué lindo. Quiero uno. No.
Today, Luis and his team are releasing a big male into the wild. And since I want to know if a caiman could have the strength to pull someone overboard, like what happened to Marcelo, he suggests that I try to catch the reptile myself. But it won't be easy, because to do so, I'll have to put a rope around the 8-foot beast, then get it onto the bank.
¿Piensa que soy bastante fuerte?
Lo vas a sacar. Si te lleva al agua, te ayudamos.
Vamos, amigo.
First, the guys attract the caiman's attention. And when they get closer to the bank, Luis throws a big piece of bait to lure a large male out of the water.
¿Es el que quiere?
Sí, sí, esto que no es.
That's the one they want, the big one.
I'll have to catch this caiman the way the locals do it, with a lasso. But I need to wait for the right moment. This is my chance. The caiman is focused on the bait. It's backing away, but the piece of meat is too tempting. Got it. The caiman starts spinning, something they do to rip pieces of flesh from their prey.
For sure, if you got that at the end of a line and you're in a small boat, there's definitely a chance you're gonna go overboard.
I managed to get it onto the bank.
Pesado.
But it's not over yet. To control its jaw, Luis will have to move very cautiously behind the caiman.
Cuídate, Luis.
Tensa la soga, tensa la soga, tensa la soga. Tensa la soga. Epa.
Wow, he's pretty intense. He climbed right on top of it.
Caiman's jaws are far stronger for snapping shut than for opening. So to avoid getting bit, a couple of rounds of tape will do just fine.
¿Y entonces qué hacemos ahora?
Lo llevamos a la laguna. A la naturaleza lo volvemos.
Ah, okay, qué bueno. We're gonna move this caiman into the wild.
No se puede hacer a la caja, mira.
That's really nice what they do. Really nice conservation effort.
Mamá. Maya. Maya. Ya. Ahí bájenla. Pero ahora, ¿y tenés cuchillo algo?
Luis removes the tape from around the caiman's mouth before releasing it. And it's gone. I'm still not 100% sure that caimans are responsible for all these accidents. But having felt the strength of a caiman myself, I can tell you, it's at the top of my list of animals that could pull a fisherman from his boat. In many villages along the Parana, I hear stories of similar accidents. Pai, a local fisherman, had a comparable story.
¿Y tú? ¿Ya te pasó eso?
Sí, es que tengo el espinel, una sola.
He tells me that during a fight with a monster, one of the hooks on his long line got lodged in his hand.
Sí, pero no me llevó al agua. Me llevó así un poco y agarré el alicate y le corté.
¿Y sin alicate te hubiera...?
Me iba a tirar al agua.
Others haven't been as lucky as Pai.
Entonces hay gente que salen de pesca y nunca vuelven.
Solamente encuentran la canoa.
Solamente se encuentra la canoa.
See? It's not just stories. It happens for real.
So now, not only am I looking for a monster that can pull someone under, but I'm also trying to figure out what might devour a person so completely that they disappear altogether. I think I have a good idea of what that might be. Under certain conditions, piranhas will come together to feed in a violent frenzy. Could that explain these disappearances? In the heart of the Amazon jungle, I saw what piranhas are capable of.
E nesse sangue vem cardume de piranha. E elas vieram para cima.
Half of his body was eaten. Even the head was cleaned off.
Is that for real?
That's for real.
Here in Northern Argentina, there's only a handful of piranha species. I'm at the office of the local attorney general to meet a team of investigators who've seen how voracious piranhas can be here. They tell me the story of a thief who fled after robbing a bank machine and jumped into a river.
Varias personas lo vieron cuando él ingresó al río, se tiró al río. En la búsqueda, primero se encontró un zapato.
She explains that her team searched for hours, but the only thing they found was a skeleton. Only the bones of the victim remained.
Es comido, devorado por palometas.
No dejaron nada, ¿no? Hacen su trabajo de manera muy efectiva.
Sí, sí, la verdad que sí.
The coroner concluded that the victim had already been dead when the piranhas began to devour him.
Él se ahogó, pero estos animalitos están siempre en la zona. Y una vez que empiezan a morder, comienzan con un pie, el cardumen se hace inmenso Es imparable.
It's a terrible story, but it proves that when the conditions are right, these predators are capable of making someone disappear entirely.
Man, that was a gruesome story. Wow. Piranhas can definitely do a great job at cleaning up the scene of the crime. But it still doesn't tell me what's big enough and strong enough to pull a man overboard.
There's still a lot of questions, including whether piranhas are really capable of attacking a live human. For this behavior to happen, the water level would have to be low and natural food sources in very short supply. In other words, the piranhas need to be starving. I've already tested this by putting my hand in piranha-infested waters.
I can see them actually, they're right around my hand. They're not attacking.
This time, I'm going even further by immersing myself completely in their environment. I'm heading to the Esteros de Libera, a vast wetland covering over 8,000 square miles, an area bigger than the state of New Jersey. I crossed the marsh with Luis, a gaucho, a local cowboy, who takes me to an area infested with piranhas.
It's incredible. It's a maze of rivers, creeks, lakes, water everywhere. Without the help of Luis, for sure I would never get out of here. I'd get lost.
But before diving among piranhas, I'll see firsthand the harsh reality of life here in the wild. The capybara is the largest rodent on Earth, and its main predator here is the caiman. The caiman has spotted its prey. It approaches stealthily, but the capybara feels its presence, and it doesn't stick around. This time, the capybaras come out on top. This area is particularly hostile. Luis tells me a story of two hunters who were looking for caimans around here.
Andaban de noche, viste, cazando cocodrilo, viste, que valía la piel del cocodrilo. No sé qué le pasó, viste, nadie sabe, pero se desaparecieron.
The next day, friends of the hunters found their empty canoe, and a few days later, something far more grim.
Pero ya encontraron los huesos, nomás no tenían nada más.
Solo los huesos?
Sí, se lo comieron todo.
Just like in the Attorney General's story, the piranhas had devoured all of the flesh.
¿Piensas que estaban vivos cuando se los comieron la palometa o muertos?
Nadie sabe de eso, ¿viste? Sí. Nadie sabe de eso.
No se sabe, ¿eh?
Las piranhas son muy bravas. ¿Sí? ¿Y ustedes la quieren largar?
Ahora no estoy seguro que quiero ir.
I really doubt they'll attack me. I'm pretty sure they won't.
Anyway, let's find out.
Check this out. It's a young caiman resting on the bottom.
It's calm, and I don't seem to be disturbing it.
I'm starting to see piranhas. There should be more around. They usually live in schools. There are more piranhas over there. And they're huge. There are a lot of piranhas down here. Look at this one. He seems very agitated.
And I'm about to find out why.
What is that? It's a big carcass. I think it's a capybara's. And the piranhas are devouring it. Unbelievable. Those stories where fishermen completely disappear. It could be piranhas. They only leave the bones behind. Diving with piranhas seems completely crazy. Like when I put my hand in the water with them in Brazil. But you know, the water level here is not at its lowest. They have a lot of fish to eat, and that's why they're not attacking me.
I saw with my own eyes that piranhas could be capable of making someone disappear completely. But that still doesn't explain what animal would have enough power to drag a person into the water. So far, I have two candidates, the caiman and the Surubi. I'm certain that caimans have the strength to rip someone out of the boat. But it's hard to believe that it would happen that often here.
More than 5 feet long and close to 200 pounds.
I have less doubt about the Surubi, especially since I saw a lot of them in the river. But until I catch a monster one, I can't say for sure if it's powerful enough. Today, I'm heading out with Javier, a local who's fished the Parana River for years. He's taking me to some spots where he knows there are monster Surubis. And now, we just have to wait for a bite.
A mí me gusta mucho cuando no pican los peces. Ahí donde suelen entrar los grandes, ¿sí? Porque está más tranquila la carnada, queda quieta. Y eso es lo que estamos esperando.
Que salga grande.
Que salga uno grande.
I tell him my theory, that the Surubi is responsible for most of the accidents. But I want to see what he thinks.
Y por la aceleración puede ser un surubí.
Surubí.
Hay veces que cuando pega la corrida, como nosotros decimos, se acelera y pega el cabezazo.
When a giant Surubi is fighting on the line, it can cause some serious accidents.
Podría llegar tranquilamente a tirarlo al agua. Tranquilamente.
Te creo, seguro.
I'm starting to really believe that the Surubi is what I'm looking for. Now, I have to catch a huge one to prove it. And to find one, Javier takes me upstream, where the Parana meets another river. At the very spot where the waters of both rivers mix, there should be a lot of bait fish. So I have a good feeling that some big predator fish will be here on the hunt.
Catfish.
Catfish.
Yeah. Beautiful little Xiao catfish. That's a baby one, but let me tell you one thing. These things can grow to huge sizes, close to 200 pounds. And at that size, they would definitely be able to pull a man overboard.
But rarely does this fish ever grow to the size of a monster. Even Javier, who has spent all his life on this river, has only ever seen a few.
Hay pocos, están en peligro de extinción nada más.
Okay.
And with so many accidents along the Parana, the Xiao seems far too rare to be the creature that's responsible. I'm convinced that the Surubi is the one.
1,74 m, 1,80 m, y la fuerza como el toro.
And I saw so many of them during my dive.
All right, Dorado. It's a old Dorado. Beautiful golden Dorado. Beautiful animal. Look at the bright yellow colors. Really powerful, powerful jaws. Really aggressive fish. They grow to a pretty big size, but not big enough to pull them in overboard. Nah, they don't have the power to do that. But man, what a nice fish to catch.
Javier's spot is good, but I still haven't caught a monster Surubi.
Parana is such a big river. So vast. There's so many different channels that the fish could be anywhere. Plus, you know, these monsters, they haven't grown to that size for no reason. They're pretty smart. And they're rare. It's gonna take a lot of patience.
I've tried almost everything, but the Parana monster is proving very elusive. I'll have to come up with another plan if I want to catch a huge Surubi and prove that it is the fish responsible for all the disappearances. With so many stories of fishermen missing or found dead in the Parana, I'm determined to catch a big Surubi. And I was told about a really good spot in a narrow part of the river, only accessible by foot. And on my way there, I visited a local fisherman who I was told had recently had an encounter with one of these monster fish.
Hola. Buenas. Soy Cyril. ¿Cómo está? Tuti. ¿Sí? Pase. Sí, seguro. Gracias.
Like other fishermen on the Parana, Tuti was almost dragged into the water after a monster fish took his bait.
¿Qué le pasó al dedo?
Y acá estuve pescando.
¿La línea que te quemo?
Sí.
Tuti explains that his hand got tangled up in the line. He was almost pulled overboard, but luckily managed to get his hand free in time.
Pero.
Se te quemó el dedo.
Oh, man.
Tuti's story is very similar to that of Pai and Marcelo.
Y cuando me caí el agua me llevó el pescado.
¿Te llevó el pescado?
Me llevó.
Ask him if he thinks that it could be the Surubi that's causing these accidents.
El Surubi es un bicho muy grande.
According to him, this fish is definitely powerful enough to drag a person out of a boat and make him disappear.
¿El pez te tira al agua?
Sí, te saca. Se desapareció.
¿Sí?
Por no aflojar su caña se van al agua y no vuelve.
Like Marcelo and Pai, Tuti survived, but others haven't been so lucky. Tuti set me up with two of his friends to help me find one of the best baits for pulling big Surubis out of the Parana. It's a little fish that looks like an eel. It's called a Morena, and apparently, even the biggest Surubis can't resist it.
Amigos, hay un yacaré aquí.
Sí, sí.
What am I getting myself into here?
And caimans aren't the only danger.
¿Y por qué tienes el palo?
No, ese para tantear si no hay rayas.
¿Sí? Mucha raya por aquí. Sí. Abajo de las plantas. Sí. Viven acá.
Sí, porque vienen a comer la morena.
Ah, vienen a comer la morena. Sí. Peligroso entonces.
Sí.
We placed the net underneath some floating plants in order to catch the morenas hiding among them. We do it quickly, but carefully, because in a place like this, they are dangerous animals.
A snake! Anguila. There's an eel in there. I thought it was a snake at first, but it's an eel.
Man, they're hard to grab. So slippery. Almost impossible to hold.
We continue our search for morenas, and fortunately, we end up finding some.
That's exactly what we're looking for. In Spanish, it's called a morena. It's a type of electric fish. You know what makes those fish especially good bait? Is that they emit an electric field, so the predators can pick up on it and key in on the prey and boom, eat it. Nice bait, perfect size.
Earlier today, I met Tuti, a local fisherman who almost got pulled into the river a few days ago by what he thinks was a huge Surubi. So I've come to the exact place where he hooked the monster.
It's a piranha.
I'm looking for, but it's a nice one. Look at this piranha. Big, bulky, massive head, really powerful jaws. Beautiful colors on the fish. Look at the scales shining in the sun. That's a beautiful animal, actually, when you think about it. But man, the hardware, they definitely have the hardware to pick the bones clean. It can definitely clean the flesh from the bones in an instant. Piranhas tend to swim in schools, so if I stay in the same place, I'll most likely end up catching only piranhas. I need to find another spot in the area where I can fish from the shore. I find a small beach, not far from Tootie's original spot, but it's pretty muddy. This is the only spot I can get access to the shore. And man, it's not ideal. That's a big fish, whatever it is. I want to see it this time. Man, it's got some weight to it. Surubis tend to hide among branches and snags on the riverbed. And this time, I really don't want to break off. It's doing like the other day. That's not a good sign. This fish has a lot of power. I really think it's the fish I've been looking for. I can't lose it. Nah, I think I got it to stop. There's a lot of current too. I'm fighting the current and the fish. All right, I got it off the bottom. I'm gaining line. Picking up some line now. I'm about to see it. Oh, big Surubi. Oh. Wow. Look at the size of this Surubi. Oh, man, the power of these animals. Unreal. And I was fighting this fish with a rod and reel. Imagine a guy with a hand line. For sure, it would pull him overboard. No doubt in my mind. No doubt at all. That's a beautiful animal. All right, let's get him back in the water. I came to Northern Argentina, intrigued by stories of fishermen who were dragged from their boats into the depths of the Parana River. The large number of piranhas in these waters is undoubtedly the reason why some victims disappeared completely. At one point, I thought caimans were the cause of these accidents. But given their strength, size, and numbers, I became convinced that big Surubis were responsible. However, this amazing fish is not a man-eater, nor a killer, but a gentle giant